And I can tell you this now because they can't take me off the stage. I've started already. A man who some of you probably know as a TikToker, who recently blind ranked AI companies by how much they look like buttholes, am giving the commencement speech at MIT. And I can tell you this now because they can't take me off the stage. I've started already. So, I'm here though, so I'm going to try and do a good job. So thank you very much to everybody for welcoming me out, all of the lovely people up here, President, Governor, surprised to meet a governor today, and the alumni, class of the 75, hello, thank you for coming out, and also, of course, thank you to the extremely impressive and charismatic and attractive students of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology graduating class of 2025. You know, is it 2005? Sometimes when you get older, you never really quite know. So, to express my thanks, the average human skeleton has more than 25,000 calories. Which is not probably how you thought I was going to finish that sentence. Also, most of your bones are in your hands and feet. That's more than 50%, just the hands and feet. Also, skeletons, bones, are very oxygen dense. They have a lot of oxygen in them, a lot of oxygen atoms. If you took all those atoms out and freed them, you could actually create enough breathable air to breathe for more than 24 hours. Those are some of my best bone facts, and I assume that a good way for a normal human to express thanks is with bone facts. Because your curiosity is not out of your control. You decide how you orient it, and that orientation is going to affect the rest of your life dramatically. It may be the most important factor in your career. And my guess is that it's going to be really easy to focus on the very compelling and exciting and honestly not that complicated problem of just building ever more powerful tools. That's exciting stuff. I love it. I love it. I love those podcasts where I listen to people talk about building powerful tools. But even though the problem space, even though the problem space is much, much bigger, obviously much bigger than build bigger tools, it is surprisingly easy to never notice that. The most powerful mechanisms that steer our focus, I'm just going to say this, are not always designed for our best interests or the best interests of our world. We've got social content platforms that are great at steering our curiosities, but sometimes they're great at steering it toward things that make us afraid or keep us oriented toward only the most impossible problems or the hottest rifts in society. Meanwhile, we have the capitalist impulse. It's very good at keeping us oriented toward the problems that are most easily turned into money, and that means an overweighting toward the problems that the most powerful and wealthy people are most interested in solving. If we let ourselves be oriented by those forces, which I think are two of the most powerful ones that orient our curiosities, guess what problems we will never pay attention to, never be curious about, is the everyday solvable problems of normal people. And I hope and I ask that you remain curious about your world's intensely diverse and massive problem space. These are solvable problems, problems that are not being addressed because our world does not easily orient our curiosity toward them. If you can control your obsessions, you will not just be unstoppable, you will leave this world a much better place than you found it. And this isn't about choosing between financial stability and your ideals. No, there is, as you progress in your career, there will be money to be made in these spaces because the problems are real. This is simply about who you include in your problem space and what you choose to be curious about. So with that in mind, here is my advice from my heart and my experience. First, don't eat grass. I had to say this for a very specific reason. and we're going to move on. Second, more importantly, one of the problems you will solve in your life is how you will find joy in an imperfect world. You might struggle with not feeling productive in that task unless and until you accept that your joy can be one of the things that you produce. Third, ideas don't belong in your head. They cannot help anyone in your head. I sometimes see people become like addicted to their amazing idea. They love it so much they cannot expose it to the imperfection of reality. Stop waiting. Get the ideas out. You may fail, but while you fail, you will build new tools. And then you'll send me an email and be like, I failed. And I'll be like, I'm proud of you. Fourth, because people are very messy and complex, you may be tempted to build around them and not for them. And I understand this. But remember to ask yourself, once a year or so, where do value and meaning originate? Where do they come from? Because they don't come from banks or tech or cap tables. Value and meaning come from people. People things are the hardest work, but often the most important work. Orient yourself not just toward the construction and acquisition of new and powerful tools, but to the needs of people. And that includes you, and it includes people near you, your friends and your family. I think that we can sometimes feel like the world is so big that like throwing a birthday party or making a playlist for a friend is just like way too insignificant a task compared to the enormity of climate change or AI or the erosion of democracy. But those thoughts alienate you from the reality of human existence, from your place as a builder, not just of tools, but of meaning. And that's not just about impact and productivity. It's about, sorry, I'm just going to take that out from the top. And that is not just about impact and productivity and problem solving. It's about living a life. Do not forget this. It is so special and bizarre to get to live a human life. It took 3 billion years to go from the first single-celled organisms to this graduation ceremony. And that's, for clarity, more than a quarter of the life of the whole universe is how long that took. Something very special and strange is happening on this planet, and it is you. The greatest thing that you build in your life will be not just your bones, though those are amazing. It will be you, yourself. And trust me on this, you're not done yet, because I know I'm not. But what you will be building is not just a toolkit. You will be building a person, and you will be doing it for people. When I asked you what you did at MIT, you said you built. But when I asked you what was giving you hope, you did not say buildings. You said people. So, to the graduating class, 2025, go forth for yourself, for others, and for this beautiful, bizarre world. Thank you. Am giving the commencement speech at MIT. And the alumni, class of the 75. Thank you to the extremely impressive and charismatic and attractive students of. You could actually create enough breathable air. That orientation is going to affect the rest of your life dramatically. It's going to be really easy to focus on the very compelling and exciting and honestly not that complicated problem. Meanwhile, we have the capitalist impulse. You remain curious about your world's intensely diverse and massive problem space. If you can control your obsessions, you will not just be unstoppable, This isn't about choosing between financial stability and your ideals. So with that in mind, here is my advice from my heart and my experience. They cannot expose it to the imperfection of reality. Where do value and meaning originate? An acquisition of new and powerful tools. Way too insignificant a task. Compared to the enormity of climate change or AI or the erosion of democracy. Those thoughts alienate you from the reality of human existence. It is so special and bizarre to get to live a human life. It took 3 billion years to go from the first single-celled organisms to this graduation ceremony. For clarity,